Brought up my grandparents, Anne and John. They're both Christians. I was taken to church as a little one, along with my older brother, Daniel. And we both brought up to be Christians. So that's where kind of maybe the interest in religion.
But here's the beautiful thing I was going to say as well. You know, with religion, you see, let's say Christianity is an example. Science goes out the window. You have to start putting Christianity above science.
And that's one of the reasons I left it.
Yeah.
You could literally be a murderer or a rapist.
Just believe in Jesus.
And as long as you believe in Jesus, you go to heaven. Say, I watched your videos for about 4 months before I even got in contact with you.
Because majority of the time, whatever Islam teaches, you will see the benefit. Barakatuhu. We're not in Shahada Corner today because it's very, very sunny. So we're here nicely in the shade. I'm with brother Sam. Sam accepted Islam last week of Ramadan, mashallah. And again, I think it was from watching the videos from EF Dawah, mashallah, and helping answer questions that he maybe had, I don't know. Anyway, Sam again is in the closet situation where English lads and lasses feel they can't show their identity about becoming a Muslim, like it's some kind of embarrassment or some kind of shameful thing that if their families see. Now this is disgraceful, to be honest with you. You know, I've said this before, that you know, the homosexuals faced this situation where when they were back in the day, they had to hide their identities. Now it's accepted, but we're seeing the same problem now with Muslims, that if they embrace Islam because of the negative image of Islam from idiots in the world, that they feel they need to hide it and keep it a secret, which is a shame. You know, I don't know what kind of society we are in the 21st century where you have to be ashamed of what you believe. It's ridiculous, to be honest with you. Anyway, that's what it is. So, Sam, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
How you doing, my man? So, yeah, so just tell us a brief, little bit introduction as to what got you interested in Islam, and what was the spark that brought you towards your Shahada?
Okay, assalamu alaikum. I'm Sam, and from Wales, from a place, I'm on the English-Welsh border, so that's why I don't really have the accent to match. But
well, you kind of do, but go on.
Not really, but anyway,
go on.
that's besides the point. I guess I was brought up, my grandparents, Anne and John, they're both Christians. I was taken to church as a little one, along with my older brother, Daniel. And we both brought up to be Christians, so that's where kind of maybe the interest in religion in general came from. Okay. You know, like, and also my belief in God in general. I've always, because even though I'm a big scientist, my belief in God never went even because of that.
Okay.
And but I guess when I was a bit older, I looked into Christianity a bit more. Like, I guess when you scratch the surface of Christianity, it makes sense. When you scratch deeper and deeper, it starts to become more complicated.
Yeah.
So that's when it was starting to go, okay, maybe this isn't quite correct.
Okay.
But I still believe in God, but this maybe isn't necessarily
okay, that's fair enough.
correct.
A lot of people do that. Is they're brought up on God, this idea that there's a creator, loving being that's looking after our affairs, and when we die, inshallah, obviously as Muslims we believe that we're going to return to and things like that. But what I've seen happen is, especially with Christianity, it's the doctrine. The doctrine doesn't marry up. So you have this idea of a creator which you can buy into, the God, the loving, the creator, but then the dogma, it becomes a little bit...
It's the whole idea that there's one God and then there's the Trinity. It doesn't really... It's like mathematics. 1 add 1 equals
Precisely.
1. Sorry, but 1 add 1 equals 3, so...
Yeah, I've heard the Christians claim 1 times 1 times 1, but it doesn't even make any mathematical sense. So basically, when you realise that dogma doesn't marry up, you leave religion.
Yeah, I kind of did. There was a little period in my life, but I think everybody goes through this. When you're a teenager and you kind of go, you know, religion's... You know, rubbish, except
well, school teaches
God
that.
doesn't exist.
School teaches that.
No, I wasn't taught that in school, to be honest. It was just generally, I don't know, just rebellious teenager. You know,
no, but you were taught in science you evolved from monkeys.
I still believe that.
Common ancestor.
Still believe that. But the thing is that I don't believe that hinders my belief in God whatsoever. I guess I still believe in the Creator. But anyways, I guess I had a revelation one day. I was just fishing with my brother on the River Wye, near Ross-on-Wye, so we're in England, and we were by this lovely stretch of river, and I see a kingfisher just skim the top of the river, and then at the same time this salmon jumps out of the water. And I thought, this one's really beautiful, to be fair. I don't think it was created by pure chance, because that's the thing. In evolution, it does imply that it was created by pure chance. I'm saying evolution could still be correct, but that someone's organised it. That would be my argument.
Okay. What I would argue against that, there's a difference between adaptation and evolution. So if by adaptation you mean that species within themselves can evolve to adapt to their environment.
Yeah, that's what I see.
I have no issue with that.
That's what I see.
But the idea that everything started from nothing and then they had amoeba and then became fish and these fish then grow legs and this, this claim only comes about when you try to find a natural explanation.
No, I didn't say I believed in.
No, I get you.
I didn't say that.
No. What happens is, I was trying to explain to you earlier about this. Islam is a lot to get used to, and I say to many people that it ain't easy. Adapting what you've been trained your whole life to believe is true to another system of values and things like that. So for example, at school you were taught about evolution and monkey and man and all of these things, and so when you come to Islam, it basically challenges that concept. Now the problem is, you see, in school you're taught this as a fact. Even though it's a theory, you're taught that this is the reality. I'm only talking to speak for myself here, to be honest. And religion was a joke.
Well, I guess for me it was the opposite, actually. In my school, I went to Monmouth Comp, normal school, just a normal.
My school used to play rugby against your school. Crossy Killiard.
We were sort of from the same neck of the woods in some respects, aren't we? But no, I went to Monmouth, and science was actually taught to us as a method of discovering things. It was never actually taught to me personally, or at least this is not how I perceived it, as fact. And I got a good example for you. There's the law of elasticity, an elastic band, in other words. And we were told a story about how this scientist wanted to prove that elasticity is permanent. You can't get rid of it. And so he starts putting weights on this elastic band, but eventually the elasticity comes out of the elastic band. So he's proven himself wrong.
Right.
That was the story we were told, because we were told that in science you've got to challenge what you believe, not believe its facts. Say, like, if you're taught something about science, if you see something that could be wrong or you think is wrong, challenge it and find out something else.
Yeah.
That's what I was taught.
No, I get
and
that.
Also in religious education.
But the premise of science is that there's no supernatural.
No. That's true in science.
So if the premise is there's no supernatural, then there's no God, and everything has a natural explanation, and there's no such thing as miracles, and you're basically anything that if you're a believer in science alone, then you'll never get to God.
No, but they're saying science can explain simple things, like that law of elasticity.
It can explain the hows, but not the whys.
The laws of gravity, or like the natural world, like, we figuring out how vital the bees are.
Well, no, this is the key. This is the key, you see. I always say this: science is the how, and God is the why.
That's what I think as well.
Yeah.
Because, like, say, around my place, I live in the middle of the countryside. I see a lot of nature.
Yeah.
Do you know something? I've noticed the bees are dying out, and I've been trying to help. Actually, been putting out little sugar bowls and stuff, because as they've been dying out, our trees and plants have been dying out, and that's worrying.
Yes.
That's very worrying. And because what also makes me worried is if they have that vital role to play, what's going to happen to us if they're all gone?
Yeah.
And like that's, I guess, science gave me an appreciation for the natural.
But here's the beautiful thing I was going to say as well. With religion, you see, let's say Christianity is an example. Science goes out the window. You have to start putting Christianity above science.
And that's one of the reasons I left it.
Yeah. The beautiful thing about Islam is you adapt to science. You study it more. I'll give you an example. I recently bought my daughter a butterfly farm. And so what it was you get this box from Argos. Have you heard about them?
I've had one back in the day.
Yeah, when you get the net,
Yes.
and then you get the pot of caterpillars.
Yes.
You know what? When I watched these caterpillars turn into butterflies, man, come out of the cocoons, it was another level. And I'm looking at this butterfly, and it's there with its bright wings, and I remember when it was a caterpillar, and I'm thinking, how did you become from that? I just don't get it.
Yeah, how do you become from an ugly caterpillar to a beautiful?
Because they start off as these little baby caterpillars, then they become these ugly things, then they start dangling, then the chrysalis, and then they hatch, and you're like, there has to be a designer of this. This couldn't have.
That's where I do believe God has a major role.
So that's what I love about Islam.
That's how, because when I look at nature, and particularly, like I said, I see so much of it. It's so finely balanced that even if the ants were to disappear, as annoying as they are, that will have an effect somewhere. And when you think about it, everything's so finely balanced. The size of our Earth is the fine
tuning. I'm sorry, we're busy. It's a good man. Thank you very much.
But say, for example, in space, our Earth is the exact size for the right amount of gravity.
Subhanallah. And even when you look at things like entropy and things like that.
And you just keep thinking, that can't.
So you come to a point then where you believe in a creator, you see all this nature around you. Why Islam?
I guess it just made slightly more sense in just one way. That, or the biggest way, I should say, not just one.
But what got you interested in Islam? Where did you get the information about Islam from? I know you watched some of the videos.
That's literally it. I was in bed, like just before I was up at 3 o'clock. I should have been in bed because I had work in 3 hours. But I come across this video and it just said something along the lines of like Christian debating Muslim or something.
Okay.
And there was a little ginger guy in it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Exactly, in it. But no, I just thought, oh, that looks interesting. Clicked on it, and I just agreed with a lot of what was said on your part. I'm not saying I totally disagreed with the Christian. You said one or two things, so I thought, okay, that's fair.
No,
but the majority of stuff that you said, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
And then clicked on your channel, and I was like, right, what else has he got then? And started flicking through them all. And I guess the biggest thing that drew me was just this simple. In Christianity, you're taught that salvation comes through Jesus, not through God, and that to go to heaven or whatever, you have to believe in Jesus, not necessarily God. That's kind of interesting. You could literally be a murderer or a rapist,
just believe in Jesus.
And as long as you believe in Jesus, you go to heaven.
Yeah.
Whereas in Islam, it's more kind of like there's just one God. You don't have to necessarily live the most perfect life ever, but as long as you've tried your best, you'll be accepted.
Inshallah.
But if you have been a bad person, you ain't going to get the same.
I would say personally, I'm sorry to interject, the difference between Islam and Christianity is that Islam gives you a guide. It gives you a way of life. It doesn't leave you stranded. Because we're human beings, we are social creatures, we go to work, we have relationships, and we eat and whatever. So what I personally found in Islam was that there's a guide to do these things, the perfect way to do these things. And when you follow that guide, you see the benefits in it. And when you look at the people not following that guide, I'm not saying everybody, but you see that what you're avoiding, if you like. You know what I mean? So you embraced Islam. Finally, after messaging me. Yeah. I think you did it with Ayaz, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mashallah.
And also yourself as well.
Alhamdulillah. And then you embraced Islam 1 week near the end of Ramadan, so obviously you missed the fasting, yeah? You did it one day, though, said.
I tried the one day, and that was pretty tough. To be honest, it wasn't not eating. It was not drinking that was the killer. Like,
yeah.
I know it sounds pretty bad, but I've gone days without eating before.
No, it's the drinking, especially in this weather.
Yeah, and at the time, to be fair, during that month of Ramadan, it was quite hot as it is now, really. That was tough.
Subhanallah.
But I loved how as soon as because I had to wait till 9:30, and I bought two 2-litre bottles of water, and as soon as it hit 9:30.
Has water ever tasted so good?
Straight down.
Has water ever tasted so good? I always say this to people. That first sip of water, man, is like water you've never tasted.
It wasn't a sip, it was a gulp.
Yeah. So now, I always say people, Islam's not easy, and I know you've struggled with certain things and trying to adjust and whatever, but how are you finding Islam? And be honest, it doesn't, we always say this, a flower don't grow in a day. And we always say start with the prayers and develop from there. We didn't focus on the Tawheed, which is understanding what Allah is and what Allah is not. Once you understand that, you'll then start adjusting your values, because you'll start realising that who has the right to have the standard and not. But anyway, how are you finding it, honestly?
I'm finding it good, I guess. It's just adapting some things. Like, say, I guess, I'll use this as an example. Say, like, I did the people who have found out, my grandparents, because they're quite tolerant people. They're, they're very liberalist people.
Okay.
But their reaction was very indifferent, so sort of don't really care.
Okay.
But not really bothered.
Oh, that's nice.
My brother was kind of similar-ish.
Yeah, you said your brother's cared.
A bit more loving, though, because my brother's like that with me.
That's nice.
My mother I haven't bothered telling because she's a blabbermouth. My mother is a gossip, and I don't...
Your mum lives in my dad, isn't it?
It's not like, It's not like...
About 10 minutes.
Yeah. It's not like I don't want everyone to know, but it's just like my mum will say everything that's going on in my private life. And that I just don't appreciate. So hence why I'm just not.
No, we always say this as well. Look, you've got to become strong in what you have before you can come out with it as well.
Yeah.
If you've got people around you who care for you, regardless, then there's no harm in it. But to be honest with you don't need to tell the world.
No.
Yeah.
And that's what my mum would do.
Yeah. Fair enough. So you got to focus on the prayer initially, like I say, make that connection and then develop it from there, inshallah. And I just want to say one last thing. One last question, sorry, if you don't mind.
Go on.
What would be your advice to somebody who was in your situation? So basically, they're not really bothered about God as such, but they start seeing these YouTube videos and they start watching them, and they start getting intrigued by them. What would you give as advice? Would you say embrace Islam, hold back? What would you advise? Honestly,
I'd just say look into it properly and like information from right sources. That's the biggest point. Like,
yeah.
Like that would be the biggest one. But also, I don't know. Say I watched your videos for about 4 months before I even got in contact with you, and like, so my point is maybe don't rush it. Like, it's I don't think that'd be a wise idea because I don't know. Some people, like you said, some people you were like
magic bean.
You were the magic bean. I'm a bit more the flower.
Yeah.
It depends, I guess. I guess it would also depend on the individual and how they can do it. If you can be a magic beanstalk, then fine, go for it.
No,
but my point is like if you're like me, who's a delicate flower.
Yeah.
But also surround yourself with some, if you can, with some good people. If you live maybe in a decent community where there are some Muslims, because I don't have that at all. So that's why I've come here today to hang out with.
No, that's cool, man.
Some Muslims, etc. And chill out with you all.
See, I would always say, don't emotionally rush into it personally, because some people, they see Islam as they see the brotherhood, they see the social cohesion, and might be in a situation in their life where they've not got that and they want to join that. It's not a problem because that will be that's a bonus, but you've got to be intellectually convinced.
Yeah, and also it's how do I describe it? Sorry, I have to think what I want to say now.
I'll leave you with the last words.
So no, it's like say like once in my life I had depression years and years and years ago. It's long gone now, but back then I used to cling to anything, I guess.
I get, yeah.
And so like you said, if you're of that kind of frame of mind, I'd honestly get yourself out of that frame of mind before you do anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Islam should be an emotional decision. I believe it should be an intellectual one.
Yeah.
I think you should look into the claims. And now you don't have to go into every single nook and cranny. Just look at the claims of Muhammad. He claimed to be a messenger of God. Either he lied about that, either he was crazy about that, either he was deceived into thinking that, or he was. And once you establish that intellectually, and I know you don't like this, Sam, I'm going to say it anyway. Like it, don't like it, it's tough. The teachings of Islam are the teachings of Islam. That has to be your standard. You know what I mean? Now, sometimes you might say, oh, Islam says this, but it doesn't say that. Someone's come across in the wrong way, do you get me? Because majority of the time, whatever Islam teaches, you will see the benefit. Definitely, inshallah.
I'm just saying, my values are very different, so I have to adapt them.
No, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
So.
Alhamdulillah. Sam,
cheers.
Welcome to the brotherhood.
Thanks.
Yeah, no rash decisions, yeah? Inshallah.